What's up, and welcome to Salon Business School podcast. Man, we're here to help salon owners grow, become profitable, create sustainable businesses. And today we're going to be diving into a hot topic that you're not going to want to miss. It may even ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be talked about. And that is booth renters aren't business owners. So if you're excited, we're excited and pumped to deliver some information to you today on this topic.
Yes, such an incredible topic. We know 100,000% that booth renters or suite renters or whatever fancy new name they slap on this position is just they're not business owners. They own a job. And that's right. A lot of stylists go booth rental, or service providers of all kinds go booth rental, thinking that they're stepping into freedom and wealth, only to realize they've walked straight into more stress, more work, and more financial risk than they ever imagined. So today we're breaking it down. We're going to talk about what real business ownership looks like and why booth renters often struggle, and how a team-based model creates bigger opportunities, bigger impact, and yes, bigger income.
Yeah. And so when you think about it, let's first, what actually is a business? And so I love this definition of a business. And the definition is: a business is an asset that can generate revenue even when you step away. So what that means, as a salon owner, if you're a business owner, not even just a salon owner, you can go away for the weekend to a tropical getaway, or you can go to the mountains for a week, and your business will still be able to operate without you. Another beautiful thing about a business is that, it has systems, it has that structure, it has that sustainability. And I think, like Lindsay was saying earlier, I love this one too, is like a business grows beyond you. Like it lets the world live on even when you're not here. It lets you leave a taste of your legacy so that you can make a huge contribution in this world.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the most beautiful parts of business, is that greater contribution into the world. Because, the truth is, if your income stops the second that you stop working, you don't own a business. You truly do just own a job. You can't, be giving back in greater ways when that is the truth. Same thing if you're the only one generating revenue, you don't own a business. If your marketing, your booking, your sales, and your taxes, everything is all on you, you don't own a business. You own a job. And that's the brutal truth about booth rental. That's what nobody talks about. I think what's really interesting to think about is how sexy the real estate marketers were about what a booth rental opportunity was. They were like, come here, you're going to get all this freedom, you're going to get all this wealth, you're going to get to keep the other half of your income. But the brutal truth is that's the farthest thing from the truth, because in every business there's expenses, there's all these different things, so real estate agents are selling, hey, we've got this booth rental opportunity, you're going to have freedom, you're going to have all this stuff, but that's the furthest thing from the truth, and so I think it's amazing that we're bringing this to light and really diving into, what is a real business.
Yeah. And so, I've had people on my team. I know Lindsay's had people on your team that have a transition from, working in your team to a booth rental situation. So what starts to conjure up this idea in their thoughts that, maybe I'll choose rental because, I'll make more money. Or, maybe I'll work less. That's a good one. I love that one. That's always a good one. I just sit there and smile when they say that. They're like, yeah, I've decided to go out on my own so I can, make a little bit money and work a little bit less. And inside I just chuckle because you just have no idea, right? And then another one too is it's time for me to go out on my own because the salon owner is keeping too much of my money. I mean, they're keeping 50% or they're keeping 55%. And so I know that I can make way more money being by myself. And so what they don't realize is here's what really happened. And for the business owners, salon owners in this call, you know exactly what we're talking about. They forget that the expenses start to pile up. You know, there's rent, there's back bar products, there's marketing, there's booking software, there's taxes, there's insurance, you know, and there's even the retirement savings, which most people never think about. And I think that's one of our beautiful gifts is working or owning a team based salon, commission salon, is because we get to help our team think as millionaires. And if you don't have that coach or mentor in your corner to help really create that reality of what's possible for you being in this industry so that you can actually retire with income coming in, man, that can really be a default to setting yourself up for success for the future.
Yeah. I think that that is obviously one of the things that we're most passionate about in this industry is really truly creating millionaires and also giving people the opportunity to love what they do and get to do what they
Mhm.
love every day. And so most people, when they go out on their own, they think that they're going to keep that other portion of the income. But now all those things, like Jen mentioned, are on their shoulders and they're your responsibility. And I think another reality check about why it truly is a trap, to go into the booth rental side of the world, is that a lot of times booth renters start cutting corners on education. And so many booth renters, suite renters, they stop investing in advanced training because it costs time and it costs
Mhm.
money. And now both of those are a limited resource. And so what happens is they plateau in their skill set and they end up charging the same prices for years because first of all, they don't even think that they're worth anymore. Second of all,
Mhm.
they know that their clients are going to realize, I remember when you worked at such and such place, you're doing all this stuff and now like why is it going up? Like, I'm confused about what's happening here. And also, I think a key thing here is without a team to push them, their growth slows down, because, it's one of the laws of, you know, physics of the world, like if you're not growing you're decaying, and it's only one or the other. And so a lot of times people think that they're going for freedom, they think that they're going to get all this stuff, but the truth is they're just going to decay. And I remember I recently ran into somebody at an event in our town, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, your hair looks so incredible!" And I was like, "Thank you." Actually, one of the girls at the salon just touched it up for me, and so I'm feeling brighter. And she was like, "Oh man, I've been wanting to come in, to see you guys for so long. I've been with the same gal for all these years, and she calls out all the time, and she just started going through a list of these things. She was like, I don't even know the last time was that she went to any education, and she was like, and I feel like my look is suffering because of it." I was like,
Mhm.
wow, for her to use the word suffering when she was telling me
Mhm.
this, like, I mean, imagine how she feels. And, I just, of course, listened to her and said, you're always welcome. And I was like, and I just also want you to know, like, we don't own clients, stylists don't own clients, nobody owns clients. And like, your stylist, I don't know who it is. She didn't tell me, so I have no idea, like, truly, if they got into this business, like they got into this business because they want people to love their look and feel more confident. And if you're not feeling that way, I would invite you to look for that opportunity where you could. And so, if you're ever, if there's ever a time where she calls out or you're looking for that, like we would love the opportunity to serve you. And so I think, that's a huge reality check that most booth renters don't think about when they get into that, is they start cutting all those corners, and it really makes their clients suffer.
That's so good, Lindsay. I've even had somebody say before, Jen, I think you really don't like booth renters. I was like, well, that's a strong word. My last name is Booth. So I mean, I don't know, but it's not that I don't like booth renters. Like I just want to make a movement in our industry. And Lindsay and I want to make impact in our industry. We want to bring beauty back to the beauty industry. And so part of us talking about this is because people just don't get it. And so, the truth is like if you're going to be a business owner, you you've got to understand these key components of what it takes to be a business owner. And I feel like right now on social media, you see all these people using these terms, business owner, I'm a business owner. I'm like, yeah, not quite. Because if you go on vacation tomorrow, you're not making any money. And so another beautiful part of that too with being a business owner is you understand like the me versus we mindset. I feel like sometimes and a lot of times, booth renters have to like hustle for every single client. They're chasing, they're running after. I'm like, please come see me. If you ain't looking, you ain't booking. Or what is it? No, I saw one that says, I see you looking, but you ain't booking. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is good. And so like, their marketing is just very different from a business standpoint. You would never see Chick-fil-A saying, I see you looking, but you ain't booking or coming in. Like that's just not what a business would do. And so, or, a lot of times we'll see from that me versus we mentality is like last minute cancellation, last minute cancellation. Well, sorry, girlfriend, how many cancellations or boyfriend, how many cancellations do you have to have? Like what is that really doing to serve someone to their highest good? Instead of building those long-term clients, they're always chasing the next booking. Or another one I love is when they show the receipt of how much it cost at Salon Centric or whatever would be another beauty spot. I'm like, well, why does the client care about that? Congratulations, you spent that much at Salon Centric. So, like, I feel like a true business owner that's going to create a movement and make impact, they're going to focus on we and not me.
Yeah, because Jen, what we know is the power of team. A team can't be beat. One of the biggest, best lessons from the book, The Entrepreneurial Seizure. If you haven't read that, that's an incredible book. Is this? It's an individual can be beat, but a team can't be beat. So man, that's huge. Like imagine that. Like, I think about like, you know, of course, like professional teams come to mind, like football teams,
Mhm.
basketball teams, whatever your favorite sport is. If it was one person on the team, basketball comes to mind because they have to set each other up for success because there's not just like one all-star. I feel like in football, sometimes like the glory goes to whoever makes the touchdown. But the truth is like there's all those people that set that person up to make that
Mhm.
touchdown. So that person might get the credit that they scored the point, but it's that whole team that allowed that to happen. The same thing
Mhm.
happens, like if they weren't practicing off the field or off the court or off whatever it was, they would not win championships. Same thing happens inside of the salon when salon owners or booth runners are like, oh, I'm going to get all of that, all these wonderful things are going to happen. Truly, they're like thinking, hey, I'm actually going to quit. I'm gonna go there and then I'm not gonna have to do anything. Nobody's gonna know that I'm not practicing. Nobody's gonna know that I'm not working on my education. I'm just gonna chill. It's gonna be great. But if you don't, if you aren't working together team, you don't have all system support and structure to really create that consistent income. Like if it's just you, you don't have that consistent income. You also don't have a strong brand that attracts dream clients and other stylists. Because, at our huddle this morning, we were talking about, people who inspire you. And one of the people on our team said, she gets inspired by the newest team members. Like, what are they wearing? How are they styling their hair? What are some fun words that they're using? You don't have that anymore. You don't have that constant set of inspiration walking in the door. You're also missing opportunities for leadership, education, and mentorship. And one of the biggest ways for you to grow is when you're able to give back. And that makes you such a stronger, stylist or esthetician or whatever your beauty pro role is inside of our industry, our community. And I think another thing that happens when you're not a part of a team and why individuals can be beat and a team can't is that when you work together as a team, you're able to make a bigger contribution to your community. And so it just
Mhm.
naturally creates some reciprocity between people want to support you because they see how you're supporting others. And so, I think the key takeaway with this is that booth rental is small thinking and business ownership is big thinking. And so,
Mhm.
which one are you choosing? Because even when you just choose to be a part of a team, even if you're not the business owner, that's bigger thinking. That's going
Mhm.
beyond me thinking about we, and your
Mhm.
clients can feel that in every moment that they spend with you.
Mhm. For most of you, or some of you that are listening to this podcast, you know that my grandmother was a hairstylist as well. I took over her business, and she tells the story. She started actually in a booth rental salon, and this was probably back in 1979. Some of you probably can even think back that far, but she said she started in a booth rental salon, and she was all about like a great guest experience, understanding face shapes, understanding like skin tones, and so she said she worked with someone one day, and she was working with a co-stylist, or not a co-stylist, just a team member that had been there, booth rent situation. And that team member or person that was in there with her had called out. And for some reason, this client comes in and she didn't get the call that her stylist was going to be out that day. And so the guest comes in, the client comes in, she's really upset because she's got this big gig to go to that night. And she was really expecting to have her hair done. And so my grandmother was like, oh gosh, well, let me step in. Like, I have time. She was brand new, brand spanking new. And she's like, I have time. Let me help you. Let me support you, and let me give you this gift of feeling great for your event tonight. And so she did her hair. The lady loved it, absolutely loved it. And the next day, when the stylist that was working with my grandmother came in, she was so mad. She said, I can't believe you touched my clients. I can't believe you did her hair. And in that moment, my grandmother said, I knew that I never wanted to work in a booth renter situation because it felt dirty. It felt icky. And I know not all booth rental salons are like that, but like I wanted to be part of a movement. I wanted to be a part of a place that would be willing to help each other, support each other. And so she said, that story just always resonates with me because that is so true. Like you have so much, like Lindsay was saying, you're able to make such a much bigger contribution when you have that team behind you.
Oh, I love that story. You know,
Mhm.
I I think it's just so inspiring to think about who you want to be in the industry. And I think too, as a business owner, just getting crystal clear on what you're allowing in your space, because Jen, when you said that story, it reminded me of once upon a time I had a stylist who worked in the salon, who is now a booth renter, who we were changing up a system inside of the salon about how we did our future reservations, how we got that next rebook set up for the client. And, we said, hey, we'll have somebody from the concierge team go up to them during processing and help get that set up, and they can already start to, get products lined up and, all these great things. This was several years ago. And she was like, I don't want anybody coming up to my clients when they're processing. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay. So we got
okay.
a lot of opportunities here because nobody owns clients and we are here to serve them to their highest good. Here's our
Mhm.
mission, for people to leave feeling beautiful inside and out. And we are all on that mission together. This isn't a stylist driven experience. And so I just want to present this question to you. Will you be a part of that 1% that builds a real business? Because when you build that real business, you allow service providers to make it past that 10-year statistic inside of the industry. So the ones that make it past there, they don't just rent a booth, they are building a legacy, whether that's inside your business, like whether you're the business owner who's helping them build that legacy or, whatever that looks like. That's how a true legacy is built. And so
Mhm.
just think about, how do you want your legacy and every person on your team's legacy to be? And if you are currently a booth renter and you're wondering, hey, what's my next step? I would just invite you to look at the best commission salon in your area and go check it out and see if there's any opportunities, because that's how true legacies are built, when we all stand in our superpowers and work together to create a larger impact. That's how championships teams are created. That's how we bring the beauty back to the beauty industry.
So, so good. So, hope you got some great stuff today, some food for thought. And, in the meantime, in between time, keep building, keep growing, and keep bleeding. We'll see you soon.